subdivision?
Before we start,
We
have this person signed up. They didn't put an item number.
Is there a Richard out there that signed up for public comment?
Yeah.
A Richard?
Item.
Okay.
This item came before the board on the September 15th meeting, not today.
I just wanted to let you know, you had signed up for an agenda item that took place in September. It's not on the agenda this afternoon.
I signed up because I just came because I wanted to speak and
Oh.
give you guys some homework.
This is not,
Yeah.
there's not open public
Yeah, I was just letting you know. That was this morning.
That would have been 10 o'clock this morning.
Now it's public hearings this afternoon, so it's only on
So when
public
is the
hearing
next
items.
public hearing, gentlemen?
That was this morning.
This morning, when's the next?
November 9th?
Kayla's.
November 9th in Dade City.
Yeah, in Dade City.
Yep, and then if that gets pulled or if there's any questions, I'm here to answer.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, since because you had been waiting. Yeah, yeah.
I understand that. I thought
Yeah.
the public hearing was always in the afternoon.
So public comments in the morning, public hearings in the afternoon, but those are specific agenda items.
Okay.
So it's quasi-judicial hearings in the afternoon, so people will speak on those specific agenda items if they're opposed to an agenda item or for an agenda item that day. Public comment for anything you want to discuss with the board is always at 10 a.m. the first thing before we actually get into the meeting. That way you don't have to sit through it.
I didn't know that.
That's okay. Yeah, I just want to let you know because I saw you on there. So.
Well, I'm gonna come back and I got 3 minutes. Ma'am, you want to say something?
Well, that's my district.
Yeah, I
And
know.
if you want to speak to any of my aides, I can have them come out and talk to you. If there's something that,
Basically, you guys passed the road improvement.
Well, we have to start now though.
No, okay.
Yeah,
well,
he has to
You
call.
didn't have all the facts.
Okay, that's fine. We have to call the meeting to order now.
Okay.
is anyone here from the PBS program? I don't think we have any on the,
Just try to be nice and tell him he's
Yeah.
sitting here waiting all day.
where's he going? Oh, he's the one with all the.
Good afternoon. I now call back to order the Pasco County Board of County Commission meeting of October 26, 2021. A reminder, everyone, please silence all electronic devices and mute your microphones. I'm opening back up public comment. I have one person that had a car accident. I think she's on queue on WebEx, so she can have her 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Muncy?
Thank you, Chairman. Can everybody hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for indulging me. I am so sorry that I was not able to be with you this morning. My car is getting fixed as we speak. So good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jennifer Motsinger, and I represent the Tampa Bay Builders Association, the people who build the American dream of home ownership. And there is no question today that Pasco has become an ideal place for many families to move for its quality of life, the proximity to airport and other types of things that everybody wants to be around. And of course, as we all know, everybody wants to move to Pasco County, build a new home with a pool. Last month, as evidence of that, your staff issued almost 1,000 permits, and most of those were within an approved master plan community. As you guys know, I've been working with Dan and Sally and the rest of the staff over the last year to address the challenges that come with the surge in demand for Pasco's development and building services. And I just want to take a quick moment and say publicly again, thank you to everybody for your late nights, your weekends, and all the dedication to maintain that level of service. We are working together to streamline the development review process without changing any regulations that protect the life, safety, and welfare of our citizens. That is a priority that we share. As you know, your staff has discussed the antiquated land development code, and an overhaul has been discussed many, many times. However, this is not the time to do that. So my mission has been to ensure that local regulatory processes are not contradictory, duplicative, or punitive in nature. And most of the suggestions I hear are simply cleanup items that are duplicative. However, I'm very concerned that the Land Development Code has become a tool to confuse the staff in the industry, and that's so unintentional. We're seeing a lot of LDC changes being used as the sole reason why change hasn't happened. I hear things like, well, it's in the LDC, so we can't change it. Or, well, we have to wait until we can address it with the commission because it requires a change in the LDC. So I'm asking you, commissioners, to help all of us by making your intentions clear. Because I don't think that your intention is to preserve a regulation just for the sake of the regulation. But I also think that we're getting bogged down in a fear-based approach, and I don't think that that is your intention either. I think you want to see this community grow. I think you know our industry has the capital to invest at this moment, the height of the market, in some really cool stuff. And I think we can all agree that if a process improvement takes place and it makes sense, there could be a way to temporarily support it while addressing those LDC changes. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. And I really, truly appreciate you taking the time to listen to my concerns.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, now's the time for public hearing, starting with ordinances. P60.
Item P60 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on October 13th, 2021.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. P60 is an ordinance amending Chapter 90 of the Pasco County Code of Ordinances, Article 2, Solid Waste Collection and Disposal, Section 90-48, providing for repeal, providing for severability, providing for applicability, providing for inclusion in code, providing an effective date. This is the same, next slide, please, ordinance amendment that was introduced 2 weeks ago, and that would be to remove the commercial collection ceiling. Next slide, please. And again, this would kind of bring us up to the industry standard with the surrounding Florida counties, creating an open market for solid waste collection. Next slide, please. Staff recommends to accept public comment, adopt the proposed ordinance by roll call vote, authorize the chairman to execute the ordinance amendment, and direct board records to retain the original and file an electronic copy of the ordinance with the Florida Department of State within 10 days after the adoption of the ordinance. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Okay, as this is a public hearing, is anyone here to speak to this item in person?
Seeing no one, move approval.
There's no one signed up,
And no one signed up?
and no one's on WebEx for this item.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Thank you. P61.
Item P61 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on October 6, 2021.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. P61 is PDD 220014, and this is the adoption of this item. It's an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for text amendments to Chapter 2, Future Land Use Element, and creating Chapter 9, Property Rights Element, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. This item was presented to a local planning agency who found it consistent with the comprehensive plan, and this was transmitted by the Board of County Commissioners on September 15th of 21. So we're asking that you adopt the ordinance by roll call vote.
Okay, this public hearing, is anyone signed up to speak to this item?
No one is signed up in person and no one on WebEx for this item.
Okay, is anyone in the audience here to speak to this item?
Seeing none, move
No
approval.
one?
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Is this by roll call? Yeah, roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner
Aye.
Moore. District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. P62.
Item P62 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on October 6, 2021.
PDD 220005, this is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map 2-15 and sheet 22, changing from Res 3 residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre to COM commercial on approximately 9.24 acres of real property located to the south side of State Road 54 and River Glen Boulevard, providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date. Today, this is the adoption for this comprehensive plan amendment. So we're asking that you adopt the comprehensive plan amendment by roll call vote. This was presented to the local planning agency on August 26th, who found it consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommended approval to the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay. Is anyone signed up to speak to this item?
No one is signed up and no one on WebEx for this item.
Okay, does anyone in the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing no one?
Move for approval.
Got a motion and a second by roll call vote?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. P63,
Item P63 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on October 6, 2021.
On this item, you should have received a corrected agenda memorandum on this item. It's PDD 220018. This is the adoption on this item as well. It's an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use maps, map 2-15 and sheet 05, from Res 1 residential, 1 dwelling unit per gross acre to COM commercial on approximately 3.9 acres of real property located at the intersection of County Line Road and February Lane, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. This comes to you with a recommendation to find that they found consistency with the comprehensive plan by the local planning agency on August 26th of 2021. And again, we're asking that you adopt this by roll call vote.
okay. Is anyone signed up for this, to speak to this item?
Mr. Chair, no one has signed up, and there is no one on WebEx for this item.
Okay. Is anyone in the audience to speak to this item? Seeing no one?
Move for approval.
Second?
Have a motion and a second by roll call vote?
District 2, Commissioner
Aye.
Moore. District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. P64,
Item P64 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on October 6, 2021.
P64, this is also the adoption hearing on this item. It's PDD 220015, an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15 and sheet 03, changing from Res 6 residential 6 dwelling units per gross acre, conservation lands, and CL coastal lands, and R/OS major recreation open space to PD plan development on approximately 151.7 acres of real property located west of Old Dixie Highway, and a text amendment creating sub-area policy FLU 7.1.59, Sunwest Park PD, a map amendment to the future land use map 2-9, adding sub-area map 2-9, parens 59, Sunwest Park PD, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date. The local planning agency found this consistent with the comprehensive plan on August 26, 2021, and it was transmitted to the DEO and other reviewing agencies by the Board of County Commissioners on September 15, 2021. Again, we're asking that you adopt this by roll call vote.
okay. Is anyone signed up to speak to this item?
No one is signed up for this item and no one on WebEx.
Okay. Is anyone in the audience wish to speak to this item?
Seeing no one, move approval?
Okay. Got a motion and a second by roll call vote?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Move on to P65.
Item P65 was published in Tampa Bay Times on October 6, 2021.
P65 is also adoption, PDD 220016. It's an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15 and sheet 14, changing from Res 3 residential, 3 dwelling units per gross acre to COM commercial on approximately 37.58 acres of real property located east of Old Pasco Road, north of Overpass Road, and a text amendment creating sub-area policy FLU 7.1.60, Adrian Phillip, and a map amendment to the future land use map 2-9, adding sub-area map 2-9, parens 60, Adrian Phillip, a map amendment to map 2-13, rural areas map, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date. This was found consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommended approval to the Board of County Commissioners by the local planning agency on August 26, 2021. And today we're asking that you adopt the item by roll call vote.
Okay, is anyone signed up to speak to this item?
No one is signed up and no one on WebEx for this item.
Okay, does anyone in the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing no one?
Move approval with a little discussion.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second discussion.
I just want to say it's great to see us taking advantage of the overpass interchange by changing this to go to commercial. Great stuff.
Okay, thank you. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor by roll call vote?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. P66.
Item P66 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on April 21st, 2021.
P66 is also an adoption hearing on this item, PDD 220027, an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use maps, map 2-15 and sheet 22, changing from Res 3 residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre and ROR retail office residential to PD plan development on approximately 303 acres of real property located on Meadow Point Boulevard at the intersections of State Road 54, State Road 56, and Beersley Drive, and a text amendment creating sub-area policy FLU 7.1.56, Wesley Chapel Lakes, and a map amendment to the future land use map 2-9, adding sub-area policy 2-9, parens 56, Wesley Chapel Lakes, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date. This was presented to a local planning agency on May 6, 2021, who found it consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommended approval to the board, and it was transmitted to the Department of Economic Opportunity on June 8th, 2021. Again, we're asking that you adopt this item by roll call vote.
Okay, is anyone signed up for this item?
No one is signed up for this item and no one on WebEx.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience wish to speak to this item?
Seen it, move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second by roll call vote?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Now it's time for public hearing items, and Mr. County Attorney, would you please go over procedures?
Be happy to, Mr. Chairman. There are two rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or planning commission has recommended approval and there's no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or planning commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual?
Your mic's not on.
Imagine that.
What?
Okay, we'll try that again. There are two rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or planning commission has recommended approval and there's no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or planning commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or planning commission recommendation, or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for the board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code.
Okay. Thank you for that.
That felt twice as long as it normally does.
Well, it, you know, you did it twice, so you should understand it, so. But with that, would you swear in folks that are going to speak during public hearing?
Yes, Mr. Chair. If you're here to speak on any of the items this afternoon, please stand so that I could swear you in. And raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Okay. P67?
Item P67 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on August 25th, 2021.
Item P67 is PDD 227526. This was actually advertised as a continuance, so the request is to continue, and I need to correct, make sure the memo is corrected. We did send the correction to the clerk's office. The continuance is to December 7th, 2021 at 1:30 PM in Newport Richey. The memo incorrectly stated it was in Dade City, but it's 12/7/2021, 1:30 Newport Richey.
Newport Richey, okay.
Move to continue
Yeah, date, time certain, what is that?
to December 7th in Newport, 2021, Newport Richey.
Okay. Got a motion
Second.
and a second? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Okay, pass 5-0.
Long meeting.
P68,
Item P68 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on July 21st, 2021, and August 4th, 2021.
P68 is PDD 227552. This was also advertised as a continuance. The request is to continue the item to the December 7th, 2021 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 in Newport Richey.
Move to continue to December 7th in 2021, Newport Richey.
Second.
got a motion and a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. P69,
Item P69 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on August 25th, 2021.
Item P69
Sorry,
is
I'm spreading
PDD
out.
227344. It's a zoning amendment in the name of Adrian Phillip, MPUD Master Plan Unit Development, Adrian Phillip Overpass LLC. It's for a rezoning from R1MH, Single Family Mobile Home District, to MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to allow 315,000 square feet of commercial entitlements on approximately 37.58 acres. I will note on this one that you did receive a corrected Exhibit A that was sent to each county commissioner and also to the clerk's office. So the request is to approve the item with conditions as included in your agenda packet. That comes with a recommendation from the Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission, and with the correction to Exhibit A, the legal description.
okay, is there anyone here signed up to speak?
No one is signed up to speak on this item and no one on WebEx.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience to speak against this item? Seeing no one,
Move
it
to
remains,
approve.
no, it remains on consent.
Oh, stay in consent. Okay.
One consent.
Okay, P70,
Oh, yeah.
Item
So item
P70 was
P70,
published in the
right.
Tampa Bay Times on June 30th, 2021.
P70 is PDD 227530. It's Wesley Chapel Lakes, MPUD Master Plan Unit Development. Clearwater Bay Associates, Inc., a substantial modification to propose entitlements for vacant parcels within the MPUD. This comes to you with approval with conditions with a correction to condition of approval number 70, which should read for the expiration date instead of December 31st, 2021, 2031, the expiration date is October 23rd, 2033, and that has to do with the build-out date. So the recommendation is to approve the item with conditions, with that correction to condition number 70.
okay. Is anyone signed up to speak to this item?
No one is signed up to speak to this item and no one on WebEx.
Is anyone here wish to speak against this item? Seeing no one, it remains on consent. P71,
Item P71 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on September 22nd, 2021.
It's PDD 227562. It's a zoning amendment, Barbara Burns Alcock, David E. Burns, James Burns. It's for a change in zoning from an AC agricultural district to an AR5MH agricultural mobile home district. Comes to you with a recommendation of approval from the Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
okay. Is anyone signed up to speak?
No one is signed up to speak and no one on WebEx.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak against this item? Seeing no one, it remains on consent. P72,
Item P72 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on August 18th, 2021.
P72 is PDD 220017, and this is the transmittal to the DEO and other reviewing agencies for this item. It's a comprehensive plan amendment, CPAL 21, parens 21, future land use element and transportation element update. It's a transmittal of the proposed comprehensive plan text amendments to Chapter 2, future land use element, and Chapter 7, transportation element, related to airport zoning and land use compatibility, and additional text amendments for consistency. This was presented to the airport zoning.
I apologize, I hate to interrupt, Mr. Chairman. I saw somebody raise their hand back there in your last one.
oh, you did?
Yeah,
She's down for item
Actually, this one.
P72 for this one.
okay. Just want to make sure, I saw her raise it before you started talking.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, but this,
Sorry about that.
I haven't asked for that yet, so
Okay.
I will.
No, I just want to make sure
Okay,
Yeah, I thought it was for the last item, so.
no, we're good.
Thank you, Commissioners. I just wanted to mention on this one, this was presented to the Airport Zoning Commission on August 23rd, 2021, and it was presented to the local planning agency on August 26, 2021, who found it consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommended approval to the Board of County Commissioners. So this is just a transmittal on this item.
Okay. So
Mr.
we have someone signed up? for this
Mr.
item?
Chairman, yeah, there's someone here to speak on the item, so I'd like to pull it off consent.
Yeah, let's pull it off consent. We'll come back to it after we go through the other items. Okay? So we pull P72 off, and we'll come back to it. Move to P73.
Item P73 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on October 6, 2021.
P73 is PDD 220447. This is Development of Regional Impact Rescission. It's a request to rescind the Wesley Chapel Lakes DRI number 166, Wesley Chapel Lakes Limited, and the request is that you approve the rescission.
Okay, anyone signed up for this item?
No one has signed up for this item and no one on WebEx.
Okay, does anyone in the audience wish to speak to P73? Or speak against it, excuse me? Seeing no one?
We approve the consent agenda.
Okay, that one remains on consent, and I got a motion to approve the consent agenda,
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Pass 5-0. We move back to P72, I believe.
Yes.
Yes,
Miss-
P72.
Miss Elena Coral, please come up to the
Please come
podium.
forward.
We have to have staff present first.
Oh,
Do you want to just hear the speaker, or do you want a presentation?
Well, he was
I'd
getting
like a
up. He was
presentation.
getting up, so, and he said.
I would like a presentation.
Was that?
It's not Justin.
Oh, you were just early.
Yeah, it's not
He was
time.
trying to get in there for
It's not time for
74.
it. Ma'am, would you come forward?
Who's presenting the ordinance?
This was presented in,
Okay.
oh, okay.
Well, I would like to make a comment
Name and
on a
address.
proposed
I'm sorry.
P72.
Name and address for the clerk.
And then start the clock.
Name and address for the clerk, and also if you've been sworn.
Yes, Elena Coral, and 10551 Villa View Circle, Tampa, Florida.
Okay,
And I swore.
all right.
Okay. So actually, the community and the owner of the airport is make a comments on a zoning, P72 airport zoning. And in reading of protection zone document, it is in interpretation that's the intent to implement Florida statute 330 and 333. It means to protect the airport and strive for zoning and the land use surrounding airport. The material have been added from 2016 draft. There is significant clause to protect the airport and limit development which would not be compatible with airport operations, such as a high-density housing, school, in a approach landing zone, and a runway protection zone. It appears from the edit that many of the Florida statute 330 and 333 clause has been struck out and replaced with a new language, which is in fact burden the airport, and the expansion of the new and expanded aviation facility. The new airport protection language has been significantly changed from the hazard airport to airport hazard. It is that the airport is creating the hazard and the building or activities surrounding the airport. The word such as prohibit, as in a previous document, have been exchanged for restrict in the current version. In the Florida statute 330 and 333 in the Florida Department of Transportation report, comparability land use guidebook are designed to protect an airport and define activity or zoning which would harm any airport in operation. Instead, this is editing changes appears to accomplish to reverse. That's it?
Nope.
No, no.
One more
we got
minute.
One more minute.
Oh, okay. To require approval of the airport expansion. So in the old language, to enforce the intention of the guidebook, there is a new language, water it down, as example, instead of prohibiting incapable land, and use words such as a restrict. That's why we would like to intend 330 and 333 protect the airport, but the language is not doing so. So that's it.
That's all your
I
comments?
got my 3 minutes.
All right, you did well. Thank you. Whose item is this?
Chair?
Terry?
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Nectar Escritos, Planning and Development. Would you like me to go through the presentation or respond to the comment?
Just with a comment.
Okay, very good. So I was able to speak with Ms. Coral in the hallway previously. So this item that's before the Board of County Commissioners today is the aviation policy that the comprehensive plan is going to have once adopted. It updates the policy. We have some policies in the comprehensive plan today that do talk about aviation, but this amendment is going to update those policies to be more consistent with Florida state statutes. Having done that, it will basically enable us to proceed and move forward with the actual zoning regulations for airports at a later date. We have an entire process set up to consider airport zoning regulations at public meetings through the Airport Zoning Commission. And I understand that Ms. Carroll is one of the civil engineers with XO5, which is the airport up at US 41 and 52. The name escapes me right now. But they have representation on the Airport Zoning Commission as well. So any draft that we develop with regard to the zoning regulation associated with the airports, XO5 will be able to participate and influence that. In addition, those airport zoning regulations will be developed accordingly along with the FDOT airport land use guidebook that the Florida Department of Transportation put out.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to continue this to the next board meeting. I had saw the agenda item. I reached out to the owner of the Pilot Country Airport because we had talked the previous year about the ordinance coming forward or the amendment coming forward. So before we even take another step, Spencer, I believe was on the committee. I didn't expect to get a kickback from the call, but when I called him last night, I told him we had the public hearing coming forward. So clearly there's an issue that they have, and I'd rather continue this for 2 weeks, meet with them, and then see if there's a tweak needed to be done.
Well, I won't be here in 2 weeks, and I want to be here for that
Well, here's
vote,
the
so.
thing,
That's fine, we can
Ms.
go.
Hernandez, come up if you would. Didn't you just have an airport meeting the
Yeah.
other day and
Which
this
is-
And they're all
was
involved
discussed?
in this.
18th of
yeah.
October. But this was actually presented to the Airport Zoning Committee, and Mr. Brass was on there on August 23rd. So and we did not get any comments. This is not the adoption, this is a transmittal. So can we just do the transmittal and then wait for the adoption?
I originally requested and made the motion to move forward with the airport protection plan, and I would like a meeting prior to moving forward.
Well,
So
then,
I
well,
would
then I'll
the
second your
continuance.
motion if you want to move forward with this, since this is just the transmittal.
Yes,
And
the
then-
I'll
transmittal, it's not
second to the
adoption.
continuance.
Well, see, this is the stuff that keeps our plan, Terry's plan, going for years.
So
'Cause
if I
this-
could, just to clarify, the adoption is not until December 7th. So there could be many meetings
Yeah.
prior to that time.
When
So
is
let's
it?
do the
When is
transmittal,
the
and
adoption?
anything that you think needs more tweaking, they can do between now and December 7th.
When is the adoption?
December 7th
You'll
at
be here for
1:30 in
Yeah.
Newport Richey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's keep moving.
Right, assuming we don't
Okay,
hear
I-
back from DEO.
I've got a motion to approve to go forward, and a second. All those in favor?
I'm not sure if you have a second yet,
Okay.
unless
Gotta have
Commissioner
public-
Moore wants
I'll
a
second
second.
Fine
with
with it.
discussion.
So second it?
Yeah,
I'll second it with discussion.
Well, I'm
Okay.
fine with the
All right, so
chapter.
discussion,
All right.
discussion will be, and Denise, I appreciate you and Terry having Spencer, who's representing that Pilot
The
Country.
chair, by the way.
Right, so, all right, so he's there. So again, I didn't expect to have this situation coming up, but I was just trying to make sure, everybody's informed. So I think this is going to be something that can be resolved as well. But knowing that we're going to meet with Pilot Country, their ownership as well as others, not that you've skipped a step and you haven't, obviously as chair, But I think just to clarify, to make sure we get it right, as it comes back after transmittal, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, you got a second on my second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0 to transmittal. Thank you. Okay. Now we'll move on to P74.
Item P74 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on October 3rd, 2021.
Okay, perfect. Justin Grant, Public Infrastructure, Fiscal, and Business Administration. This item is UT 220019. This is a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, setting the water and wastewater connection fees and setting fire and fire hydrant rates and providing for an effective date. Connection fees are a one-time charge paid by new customer for infrastructure and facilities needed to provide capacity. It's also applied to existing customers that request additional capacity. Just to review some of the recent items that have happened relating to this item, back on the 12th in Ordinance 2124, the name impact fee was changed over to connection fees. Also on the 12th in Ordinance 2124, we removed the fee schedule from the Land Development Code and shifted it over to Chapter 110 of the Utilities Ordinance. This is consistent with where the other utility rates, fees, and charges reside. As you'll see in the coming slides, we propose increases to the connection fees, and we phase those in over 4 years. And it's notable that the last time those fees were touched was 2006. Step one in this process will be to set the existing connection fees, those are the ones from 2006, into effect. These are based on an equivalent residential unit, also known as an ERU. A table is listed here below with the common ERU sizes. All right. Step two in this process will be to increase the connection fees. This will happen over a 4-year phasing plan. As you can see here, the average annual change will be about $120 to $125 a year. This results in a less than a $500 increase over the 4-year period. This slide is just a regional comparison as to where we would land in year one relative to other utilities and municipalities in the area. As you can see, we remain in the middle of the pack. And step three is to adopt proposed fire line and fire hydrant monthly rates effective January 3rd of 2022. This part of the agenda was intended to go on the August 24th hearing due to an issue with public notice requirements. This was not inadvertently not included, and so it's included here, also for adoption and effective on January 3rd of 2022. So to review the 3 items we are recommending here to adopt the resolution: to set the water and wastewater connection fees, the existing ones, effective October 26th of 21. Number 2, increase the water and wastewater connection fees effective January 3rd, 2022. And 3, approve the fire line and fire hydrant fees effective January 3rd of 2022.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
What?
I have a question.
Okay,
Is it my time, is it our time to go, or is it public comment?
that's public comment first.
Okay, after public comment.
Do we have anyone signed up to speak to this item?
No one has signed up to speak for this item. We did have one person pre-register for WebEx, but they are not on. So
Okay.
no one is on for
No
WebEx
one's
either.
on queue.
Mhm.
Okay. Is anyone in the audience wish to speak to this item? Seeing no one, discussion?
I just wondered, on the page 2 of 4, with the connection, waste and water and wastewater connection fees, you have single family, and then you have multifamily, mobile homes, and then you have recreation vehicles. So what does that mean, recreation vehicles? Is that in a travel park versus a mobile home park?
So
How does that work?
Those are RV parks.
Okay, so you're going to charge the, since they're only there for a short amount of time, how is that collected? I don't understand that one on travel parks and RV parks.
So I think the best thing here would be actually Mark Gutman from our engineering department, who administers that, should be online. Mark, are you with us?
What was the last name?
Gutman?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Do you
Okay.
pull up and you're here for a month and you pay that? I don't know.
Well, I believe that's why the rate is 0.33 ERUs rather than 1 ERU. It takes into account the frequency of use. So, during a portion of the year, there's going to be, we're going to be collecting an impact of sewage. So I believe that's why the 3 is there. And this is just for RV parks.
So that fee goes to the landowner who puts in X amount of connection opportunities?
Right, it would be the developer that builds the RV park, the number of units times that rate.
Okay.
So staff just reminded me, this is the AWWA standard for recreational vehicle parks, is 0.33 ERU.
Okay, and someday I'd like us to talk about recreational vehicle parks because we have a lot where the people never move. They never leave. They built structures on their travel trailers and cars and, yeah, they never leave. So, okay, well, thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Move approval?
Okay.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign? Pass 5-0. Okay, move on to P75.
Item P75 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on August 25th, 2021.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Will Poon, PE Senior Engineer in Current Planning. My item is PDD 22-Conditional Use 01, Mining Operating Permit and Conditional Use Permit Amendment Request for an existing sand and lime rock mine with no blasting in agricultural residential district northwest Pasco County on the south side of County Line Road, approximately 3,200 feet west of Suncoast Parkway. And the applicant is K&M Pasco 130 Holdings LLC. Here's the location, as I previously mentioned, just west of Suncoast Parkway. An aerial, as you can see, the mining operation. And the conditional use application, as I mentioned earlier. Just to paraphrase, basically, they're modifying their excavation of approximately 2,642,358 cubic yards of sand with an additional 1,052,492 cubic yards of sand outside original pit area for a total of 3,694,850 cubic yards of sand, in addition to the previously approved 1,896,719 cubic yards of lime rock limestone. They expanded the limits of the mining from 100 foot from the east and south property line. The lime rock mining and sorting operation will remain the same as previously permitted, so no change there. The site plan have been updated to reflect, as I aforementioned, and also the duration and the operation have remained the same, no change there. And here's the surrounding zoning areas. Future land use, as I previously mentioned. Here's the site plan, amended site plan, as I mentioned earlier, showing the expansion, and there will be a berm and also landscaping associated with the improvements. And we recommend approval with conditions as set forth in your packet. Any questions? I'm here to answer any. Also, the applicant's representative and their client is also here too.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Hoppy?
Clark Hobby, Hobby and Hobby PA, 109 North Brush Street, Tampa, Florida. I've been sworn. I'm going to be very brief. I believe the one person who spoke at Planning Commission is not here today to speak against the project. We have a couple of our neighbors who are, I think, mostly in listening mode. We are expanding the mine footprint, but we're building a large berm on the south boundary. It's 8 feet tall with landscape and seating on there that will be an effective buffer. We have a noise expert who's submitted 2 reports to the board and to the Planning Commission, and who's online, who will testify that we will meet all the noise requirements of the code. We've been operating since, I think it's been 10 or 12 years now, and never have had a complaint. I think we've been a good neighbor. We've been for free grading the dirt roads south of the site that we do not use, that are about a half-mile long, and there are 4 of them. And we've been doing that for the better part of the last 3, 4, or 5 years, somewhere in that range. And so that's why I think you see none of our most adjacent neighbors are here complaining. So happy to answer any questions. Other than that, I'm just going to hold the balance of my time in case anyone speaks.
Okay. Is anyone signed up to speak to this item?
No one is signed up and no one on WebEx.
Okay, is anyone here in the room to speak to this item?
Seeing no one, move approval.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed. 5-0. Okay, we'll move on to, that finishes the public hearing, so we'll move on to our other business. More?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had nothing earlier, but,
Well, I'm going to make up for
but I'm
that.
I'm gonna add something real quick.
Sounds real good.
I know. I had nothing, but question for my fellow commissioners. Do we want to reconsider C8 from this morning? I say that because it doesn't incorporate the timelines or concerns when we talked about the comprehensive plan. So do we need to reconsider C8 and bring that back when we have the discussion, I don't know, at the next meeting in reference to the comprehensive plan?
What do you think,
I
Mr.
mean,
Miles?
if you don't move forward, that's just gonna slow us down.
Yeah, I agree. Let's.
Yeah, well, I was asking the question because we decided to
Yeah.
continue on, to
Yeah,
continue
but I
that
think
item.
we
can
should
adjust-
continue.
I mean,
so.
if we adjust timelines on this, then it's a modification to this, but at least they're working. If you don't approve this now, they won't be working while we wait on changing it.
I agree. Let's keep moving, but
Yeah.
let's work on a way to do it faster.
Okay.
Well, again, I'm
I have
fine with it. I
questions
just
on
wanted to
that.
bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're all right.
All right. I'll trust you guys.
Are you done?
That's it?
Well, then one more thing just popped up. That's nothing big. I don't know if you know this yet, but Zephyr Hills is now the largest city in Pasco County.
Why don't you take my thunder?
Take your thunder. Were you actually going to mention
I
that?
thought that already happened. I thought
Yeah.
that's why we put
Were
it
you
on
actually going to mention
It
that?
has already
the
happened.
MPO.
But
That news is slowly coming out because
Is
Yeah.
that seasonal or
no, it's real full-time.
full-time?
Full-time
it's
residents.
full-time.
So,
That's the hard 2020 census number.
well, the reason I do mention this is because if you look at some of our committees and boards, by statute on some of them, you have to have the largest city representative.
And we changed one of
So
those.
you're going to have some
tourists.
changes in the future after the new year on who the represents,
So you need to
the
keep that in
cities it
mind.
represents, yeah.
Well, if we have to make some of those changes.
Yeah,
if
so-
you're going to be, if you're chair, then
Oh.
you would have to be
Well,
looking at
I hope
this.
that's not
No,
Tampa
no,
Bay
no.
water because.
No.
Zephyr
Ford
Hills
looks
is
at
a
Oh,
part of
yeah,
Tampa
that's
Bay
right,
water.
some of those.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's right, some of those.
It'll come after me.
And plus some of the ones in the, actually, county committees and boards as
Oh, we need a
well.
list of those.
So, yep, just be aware.
Okay.
And that's
You
really
just-
why I brought that
You're
up.
actually just changing number 1 and 2.
That's what you're
largest
doing,
city,
yeah.
Basically.
But it's coming
Somebody
up
asked
here.
me if there was possibly an award they get for being the largest city, and there's nothing set up because Newport Richey's been it forever. So there's nothing that's been set up on an annual basis or anything, because it happens every 10 years, but City of Newport Richey's been that large city for us for many years, so.
What's, by how many people?
Let me tell you real quick.
Because when Frank Starkey builds the other apartments, maybe Newport Richey comes back on.
Well, they're both moving targets, because both of them are.
Yeah, they're both moving targets.
And Leisure Lane gets done.
Well, you've got, and then you have quite a bit of development going on in Zephyr Hills right now too, within
Yeah.
the city. I
Right,
don't, so,
yeah.
I don't know, I don't remember the exact numbers. I got them
Count
here
them every
somewhere.
10 years. So they have
Yeah.
10 years to work on it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
years and see.
Anyways, that's all I got.
Okay, well, it's good
Ms.
that it's
Starkey.
early.
Oh, no.
Which photo do we have up first?
You can have not more than 2 items. so. I think it's 5.
I don't know which photo we have up first.
Is it a dump?
Okay, well, here,
Had we
well,
seen
okay.
this one?
All right, that's the beginning of an improvement, but it's supposed to be in continuous hedge, so they need to double up that. But this is the Children's Medical Center on State Road 54, and the rules actually require mulch as well, so, well, those berms are really problematic. They're very difficult for these guys to maintain, but anyway, we appreciate that. Second one? Okay, here's the Hyundai where everything's dying, so I thought we were doing two of the goods first, but here's some of my 5 problem children. Next. Oh, well, these are not in order. Okay, so we're going to jump around, sorry. This is the, and Sally and I just talked about this at lunch, but this is a really frustrating occurrence for me. It's going to lead me into one of my other discussions in a minute. This is a business on US 19 that we cited and cited and cited, and they take their stuff and they put it out on the highway. It's a pawn shop. And we took them to court during the, and I actually, it's the only time I've ever listened in on a code enforcement action, and with Patrick Moore and the judge and this woman, and she agreed that she wouldn't put this stuff out on the street, but on the weekends, yeah, it's in the right of way. And then she fills up the parking lot. It's just all her junk comes out of the store and into the roadway. Sally, what did you tell me at lunchtime about this? And I know she's frustrated as well, and I'm going to tell you about some ideas I have for solutions.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Sally Sherman, Assistant County Administrator, Development Services. This is one of those projects that is somewhat of a habitual offender. It did go to the courts. Patrick Moore took it before the judge in June. A fine was presented. It was reduced. They gave them a certain amount of time to comply. They came into compliance, so the case ends. But what they did is, now that they've come into compliance, instead of putting stuff out through the weeks, they're putting it out on the weekends. And once we got the text message from the commissioner over the weekend, we did send a code enforcement officer out on Sunday, because a code enforcement officer, in order to move forward, have to witness the offense. He witnessed it, took photos, and then cited them on Monday, October 25th. But again, now that we have that, the next step is for them to go back, because it was a citation. They're going to have to go back to the courts and defend why they reoffended. And if the judge gives them another opportunity to correct it, it's just going to be a non-ending cycle of offend, citation. But our understanding, in speaking with the owner of the property, he is looking to evict the business next month. And our code officer did witness that it appears the amount of product in their store is being reduced, so they may, because of the possible eviction, they're putting it out on the street to get rid of it as quickly as possible. But one of the things that the team mentioned to me is that the order to show cause process that we've used in the past, we are very judicious, I would say, in our utilization of it with the attorney's office, and I understand that. But for habitual offenders, this may be the route that we have to go, because after you fine and do all those things and they still don't find a need to comply, then the next best order is perhaps they spend some time in Pasco's finest hotel accommodations.
That's the plan. All right, so thank you very much. Well, you might as well stay there, because do you have the other landscaping photos very quickly to scroll through? And they should, all the landscaping photos should be together. There's the regions where they did replanting, before and after. There's where you see on 19 where all the trees are gone and it just looks horrible. Okay, keep scrolling. Gone. That's right there on 54. I'm trying to, this is where they cut down all the oak trees when you were driving on State Road 54. And Starkey Boulevard's right up there on the right. We allowed them to cut down all the oak trees, and then they let them put the landscaping behind the fence, which I don't understand. And now there is no landscaping. It is all dead. And that's like 3 months old. So y'all need to go out there, but I don't understand why we let them put it behind the fence. It should be in front of the fence, but that's a problem. Okay, is that it?
Corporate's name's right there. It says Starkey.
Well,
I'm just teasing with you.
Yeah. This is Trinity Tower and Storage on 54. All right, thank you. So you have a plan to help with these landscape violations, right?
Well, some of the things that we're doing, we have, I spoke with David Ingalls, and especially for our small businesses, because we know they're struggling just to stay open. So we have started a concerted effort between David Ingalls and our code officers to go out and give them information with regard to our grant program for landscaping. And thanks to Terry Petitos and Roberto in his office, they helped us get together a package that, you know, is enabling us to move forward. And we have a number of grants that are coming forward. And, you know, we could do that through our administrator's office to get those approved. So that's one way that we're looking at addressing these.
Okay, so the ones that I've been showing you are not, except for this one may be a mom and pop, it's a very successful one. I've been showing you banks and car dealers and doctor's offices that have the funds and the wherewithal that I don't think the citizens of Pasco County should be paying for their landscape. In my opinion, the landscape funds with our grants should be to older businesses who built before we had a landscape ordinance, and we get to clean them up. But to allow someone who's violated our rules, and then we pay for the fix, for me, is inappropriate.
No, I apologize if that's your understanding, Commissioner. We're looking to help those that are it's for small business assistance.
Okay, but what are we doing?
The storage units, these aren't struggling either. That's
No.
why there's new ones popping up.
On the larger ones, we have been going and doing our code enforcement activities.
Oh, you started
As you know,
already?
we did the letters that we've been helping with. We send out informational, educational letters, and then we're going to move forward with the citation process, which means we also have to look at if they have an approved site plan, if they do, what was there and what they need to replace, and moving forward with our citation process.
Okay, and so you have, and I wanted this, I knew all this, but I wanted the board to hear that
Yes,
you have dedicated someone, I don't remember his name. There is an office person dedicated to kind of looking at this. It's one person, but we're going to start enforcing our ordinances and rules.
We're going to be heavier on the enforcement side.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind me jumping in.
No,
a bit,
please jump in.
Commissioner.
This is important.
All right, so either question for Commissioner Starkey or you, Sally. So when we talk about, you just mentioned small businesses.
Yes.
About how obviously you want to use the landscape fund for the small businesses. How are we deciding on what we're considering a small business? Is it employees, or as Commissioner Starkey stated earlier, kind of being grandfathered in, so we'll come in and provide that landscaping out of the landscaping fund that is actually, I think, for the people at home. Why don't we explain to them once again how we build that fund? I don't want them to think it's just taxpayer dollars that are going to this. There's a fund paid by development.
We're utilizing funding from the tree preservation funds, and that's where people who have offset their tree requirements, that they pay into a fund. And also if people go in and remove trees without getting permits, then they pay into that fund. So it's not dollars from our general fund
So to
or
Commissioner
ad
Starkey's
valorem.
point, what policy do we have in place? Do we need to make a policy of what constitutes a small business and who could actually utilize this fund, so the funds aren't diverted, as Commissioner Starkey did mention, to a large business that can afford or should have properly done their landscaping in the beginning?
Commissioner, David's not here, but we do have a very strict protocol for the utilization for those funds, and I don't want to speak off the top of my head because I don't remember. It's businesses that have less than, I apologize, I don't remember the details.
And I guess it can always be considered never FTEs either, right? Because you might have a corporation that only has 10 FTEs, but they may have, gross sales of, $50, $100 million. So.
Mr. Chairman, Nectarios Pitos, Planning and Development. So there is a small business definition that exists in the Land Development Code. We recently updated the mobility fee ordinance. There's a small business definition therein. Off the top of my head, I don't remember it or recall it. Do you recall it, David?
Yeah, it's 25 or less employees.
Yep. Okay.
But that's really only for mobility fees. It's not, it
Right.
wasn't crafted for purposes of tree mitigation.
No, but
For use of the tree fund.
No, we're just
Yeah, so-
identifying the size of a business.
Yeah, so I guess it goes back to the point was made a second ago of if you look at a storage facility, for example, that might take up, 15 acres and has a 200 square foot building, but they only have 5 employees there, and their gross revenue could be $50 million. That's really not the small business that we really want to be putting our money into.
I have a suggestion that one second. It should be businesses who got their site plan approval before we enacted this landscape ordinance. I think that's an identifier.
And Chairman, there are specific guidelines. They cannot exceed 10 acres, and it has to be in specific areas. And there's a whole guideline sheet that they have to go on.
What are you talking about?
To qualify for the program for the $20,000, they have to pay 20% of what they're getting. And then the eligible properties are not to exceed 10 acres unless proposed by redevelopment and landscaping projects.
Well,
So
yeah,
there
that's-
is very strict.
That's another layer, but Commissioner Mariano's wanting to jump in.
Mr. Chairman? Yes. Thank you. One of the things I want us to consider, though, is not just, obviously want to help the small businessman, but sometimes you can have different code requirements from the landscaping code, parking regulations, et cetera, that will make redevelopment, let's say along 19, extremely expensive, such as the Service Merchandise Building that sat for like 7 to 10 years. Ashley Furniture had a lease on that property for 7 years. They paid that lease every step of the way. Part of the reason they said they didn't come forward, even though the competition Rooms to Go came forward, was because it was going to cost them like $250,000 to bring it up to code. Sometimes the flexibility of being able to help offset some of that cost through this fund, so it's not taxpayer-based, is something to keep in mind, that you may want to have the flexibility.
Yeah, I think David wants to speak to it too, because he's dealing with it with me as well.
I was watching the video.
Came out of the cave.
Hi, David Engel, Office of Economic Growth. Commissioner Moore, you had some questions regarding the eligibility of the tree commercial landscaping program. So we define eligible properties by acreage. It can't be over 5 acres. And it has to be located in target areas where there's low and moderate income component in the census tract, up to 25% or greater. And it's defined to the older commercial corridors in the county.
Well, that's a great place to start. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
yeah, but don't leave, because I may bring up our little project. Okay, thank you all. What other photos? What do I have next? No, for her. Oh, nothing. All our screens just went out.
There they come back.
Oh, so Terry Pitos and I and a lot of staff had that's okay, Sally, yeah. Had a wonderful meeting a couple weeks ago at the Starkey TLC. And that's the library, I can't stand that name. We are going to have to change that name. The Cultural Center in Starkey Ranch. And the purpose of it was to bring together all the landowners in that quadrant, because we're starting to get piecemeal owners coming in with development plans. And we wanted to do a type of cohesive planning exercise there, similar to kind of what the, that one is up on 52 that we've been working on, I don't remember what that's called.
Oh, yes.
The Employment Center.
Center, yeah.
So we had a great turnout, and I think it went really well. Terry, I think you think it went well too. And the idea is the county's going to work on a plan. Is that called a sector plan or quadrant plan or overlay plan? What's your word for that? Yeah. I want to put this in your minds for your areas if you think of something like this.
So this was the area on the southwest corner of Gun Highway and State Road 54.
Yeah.
And so it's a sector plan or a quadrant plan, if you will, for that part of the block. There had been a number of property owners that were inquiring on this particular in this particular area, asking what could potentially happen, because there were so many inquiries and because there was interest regarding this. We decided that we would hold a neighborhood meeting and ask everybody what they were thinking about how they could think about the block. And so, yeah, we had a great turnout, and we took a lot of feedback that we're going to utilize as we develop the quadrant plan for this part of the intersection. The quadrant plan itself is just a fancy name for a potential comprehensive plan amendment that can, change the future land use in the area to something that meets what the landowners would really like, what the market is asking for. what the vision of the county is with regard to the economic development potential for that area.
It's like a comprehensive plan in mini,
Yes.
kind of, yeah. So, because we don't want to see all multifamily come in there. We want to preserve industrial and commercial and so we'll have different types of multifamily. It's not suitable for single family. And the hope is that it becomes its own little community. It's right across from Starkey Ranch. There will be an easy way for them to go across the street and access all the retail and commercial across the street and vice versa. So we're excited that it was very well received, and you'll be seeing this work its way through the county and come to us eventually. All right, next photo. There should be a video. So on the day that the county did the staff day, I don't remember what you called it, but my staff and I drove around Holiday so Katie could see what people call in about. This is on behind the Speedway. This is Katie. That lady's hitting up into her leg, injecting into her leg. Okay, well, Katie's going to get some lessons here. Somewhere here, you're going to see all the furniture. Oh, there it is. They've just pulled all the furniture and put it on. There they go. See it? Commissioner Moore, you missed it. But there's sofas and chairs and all kinds of furniture behind the Speedway on a private road in Holiday, right behind a bunch of people's houses on the other side of the fence. And they're living there. And we have gotten a lot of calls, and a lot of people are very, very upset that this is allowed to continue. And I will say, a deputy was driving by, so I followed him, and he was going to a domestic violence issue on Holiday Drive, where my drug trailer is, which actually got all cleaned up. I don't know what happened there. They just said there's really not a lot they can do for this kind of situation. Right now, the jail is full, and so that leads me to an idea that I want to start proposing, and Jack's going to involve your district as well, because I think you have some of the same challenges that we have. And for 9 years, I've been trying to clean up the Holiday area and deal with the panhandling and the homeless, do redevelopment, all those things that make a community great. And I feel like my office is a little bit spinning its wheels. But I think we have a lot of tools and resources if we come together with a cohesive plan. And so I've talked with David Engel about this. I just talked with Kathy about it at lunchtime. I guess she's gone. And Sally a little bit. I need to talk with Marcy. But Jack, I have this idea that we put together a task force for the harbors area that deals with all those things that when we did the harbors plan had some actionable items in them to improve that corridor. I think the sheriff should be on there, and Don Anderson, some of our someone from planning, and people from the community, and of course David with redevelopment ideas, and that we put together a task force that comes up with actionable items and suggestions for us to fix so that our citizens see something happening along that corridor. And I have a person in mind to run this because she did it in her community, and she did a great job. And that's Kelly Miller. I would take what she did at Colonial Hills and those walk-arounds and her spreadsheets and her action items and blow that up and let's have a harbors task force with community and other groups involved and get some action items out of it and then implement them. So that's kind of a big ask, but I wonder what you think about the idea. We were going to just leave it on our half, but I decided we should include yours too.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to do something, especially when you see the furniture sitting to the side. And no matter where it is in the county, I think we should have at least a code person who can identify it, that it shouldn't be there. And if we have to, then let's have a grappling truck ready to go, to say, okay, go pick it up over here. I don't think it's going to be just as easy to have a grappling truck show up and pick it up. You're going to need at least code or maybe a deputy there so that the people picking the stuff up can pick it up and haul it away.
Right now, don't get in the weeds on solutions. Let's talk about the big picture of helping the community get engaged in ideas and having our different departments all in the sheriff's office and what other departments are relevant, bringing these solutions and then bringing them to us.
And I'm good with that, but when you show that issue, I mean, I've got that issue elsewhere too, up in my area, and when we're doing cleanup over to East Brown Acres in Gulf Highlands, there was like one section where the homeless like moved in and go.
Yeah.
We need to be able to move on that quickly, and I don't think we need a big committee to go study that issue. That's something like, if there's people sitting in furniture that shouldn't be in an area that shouldn't be there, it's in the right-of-way or it's in private property and people want it out of there, we should have a quick way to go out there and have the right people, so our grappling truck can go out there, not be hassled by the people that are there, whether it be a deputy or code enforcement, get the people away from the stuff to pick it up and pick it up and haul it away.
Yeah.
You do that enough times, they're not going to keep on bringing it back.
I think these are the people that used to live in the lot across the street in Helen Ellis, where all their junk is still there.
Yeah.
And I think now they moved in on this private property. It says private property right there. It's owned by the bank.
And I'll tell you, if you, just being in San Diego a little bit ago, if you went to the one side of the Petco Park, clean as can be, maintained like you can't believe. You go to the other side of this area, and there's homeless blocks where they just kind of like slowly took over. We've got them in the woods now, but we don't need to have them in the public either, just hanging out there, just driving up. Today, I'm seeing people just in public areas where they're just kind of hiding out in front of a mall or whatever.
Oh, I heard the mall's bad. I've not been in the mall, but I don't know how to deal with that one. But I heard we have
in front of business, just in businesses.
Killed the mall, that we have a lot of homeless people.
They just kind of go in. I mean, at
Living in the mall.
Fox Hollow and 19, there's like an empty commercial piece of property. There's a little bit of shade in there. They go in there and they stay right there. So all those areas need to be just, when we see it, clean it out, move it on.
Well, so that's.
But I'm happy with the committee idea too.
Yeah, so I think it's good. And I would have the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council with their ability to do plans involved. And I was in on a HUD. I sat in on a HUD meeting with community development, community services. I never can get that right. There's all kinds of grant money out there, all kinds of grant money. So if we have some good ideas, we can go after them. Okay, so I'm glad you like that. T-BARTA. What was I going to say about that? Oh, we are, I told you before that we're doing the memorandum of understanding or interlocal agreement with everybody. And right now, we're at 0.1534. It's a charge per population. And we voted at our meeting last week to raise that to 0.17. It's next year. So it'll be a small increase next year. The Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council is at 0.34, or 0.35, but we'll be at 0.17. And then we're going to go after matching dollars from the legislature for that. So it was unanimous, everyone liked that idea. And the cities have agreed that they're going to pitch into. So I'm really excited for that with T-BARTA.
Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Starkey. So, yeah, I saw that.
Did you see me scream when the...
No, I haven't seen, I read it.
The fire alarm kept going off.
No, I read it. And we've had this conversation before, even prior to you being on there. And I did talk to, just to clarify what I read in the paper, I did talk to Ron as well, and to clarify about it being next year, because I know the other portion was on the agenda this morning for this year. But this, to have an increase, though, we need to see some action from T-BARTA. And I'm not saying from the board, I'm talking about from T-BARTA as
Agreed.
A body. So like if this vote were to happen today, I'd say, hell no. Don't give them any more money. Don't let them raise it. So we need to see action from them between this date and next year when this is brought back to us. Because it's just been a planning agency, and it's been a planning agency for way too long without any action. So they better have something in the bag ready to roll next year
We have our plan that we voted on to move forward. We have a little hiccup with Hillsborough County, but Secretary Gwynn thinks that's going to get resolved. They took the funding out of their MPO for part of the bus rapid transit. But we think that's going to maybe get put back in. And we also have a rapid transit plan that's working on US 19 to connect Pinellas and Pasco County and eventually Hernando. And when it's regional, then we can go for the federal dollars. So we do think we have some good stuff coming. Plus, we have the air transit discussion coming in. And I don't know if it was this group or T. Bart, I mentioned that one of the stops we're going to be doing, hopefully we'll just about have that set, is to stop in at Lilium. Lilium is an air taxi company out of Germany that's coming to Florida. They've signed with Orlando. When I was in West Palm, they told me they had signed with West Palm. They're about to sign with St. Pete and the Moffett, working with Moffett down there. So we want to have them put a vertiport in our Moffett facility up here. There's already a heliport, and it's very easy to add a vertiport, and they come right up the Suncoast. So T-BARTA has some really exciting transit things in the works.
I guess you know how it is. Again, when you
Oh,
know that we
trust
have
me,
these talks.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah,
I
mean,
spend a lot of time going down
we
there.
Plan and dream. I mean, we all dream.
Well, that's
And
coming.
they've been dreaming for a long time. We need results. I dreamed about winning the Powerball last night. I woke up this morning. I
And-
still hadn't won the Powerball.
Well, we would have been much further along. We are continuing with the design and everything of our rapid transit plan. Even if Hillsborough right now, if we have a little gap in the middle, but we think that by the time we get to the stage where we need to have that gap fulfilled, that we will be where we need to be. What was I going to say? Anyway, but yeah, I do think you'll see some stuff coming out.
Is that all your items?
No, Tampa Bay Water. What was I going to say on Tampa Bay Water? Now you knocked that right out of my head. All right, I did get a call from someone, and Jack, this is in your district, and maybe you know about this, but that Port Richey has been dumping overflowing raw sewage into the bayou. Are you aware of this?
No.
Carbala's gone. I want us to look into that. So they sent me videos of it coming out of the manhole and right into the water. And it's the gentleman that owns one of those sightseeing boats that's there by Gulf Harbors. He sees it coming out by his house. He says he's been doing it for years. I get a notice whenever there's a spill. I don't know how they're getting away with not having notices, but I want this to be added to the November 2nd discussion.
Well, I'll tell you, I think maybe Sally could actually reach out to DEP and get them out there to check it out.
Okay, so,
We'll talk to Mike.
Okay.
We'll get, find out what's going on.
and lastly, I think that discussion that Jennifer called in about has a lot to do with me and asking for trees to be, say, placed in front of a house. And I'll let you know that when I've been meeting with developers, I let them know I am very loath to approve a 40s only development.
Was that your picture that showed all the houses and there was no landscape whatsoever?
Yeah.
Yes,
Only a
yes.
small distance
Yes.
between that house and the road?
Yeah, so, if you go and drive in front of a 40-foot front-loaded street, it's just a driveway, a garage, and a door. If you drive down a street where they're rear-loaded on 40-foot, it's a porch and grass, and it's very nice. You can see it in Starkey Ranch. You can see it in Longleaf. You might see it in Asturias. I don't know, in Bexley, I know you see it. I'm not opposed to 40-foot lots. I'm opposed to 40-foot front-loaded lots and only 40-foot, and the house is cookie cutter and there's no architectural elements on it. And I get that this is a land development code issue, but I'm sorry, we're approving. So what they didn't tell you this morning was that we were the #1 permit approver in the country. We beat Dallas, Fort Worth, and Sacramento last month, and the amount of single-family homes permitted is what Roy Major told our Harbor South Leadership Council. And so I don't want, 10,000 homes to be approved before we fix this. This is an issue that I think needs to be addressed soon. And I get that they need to have, our development community needs to understand what we're looking for. And so I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for, and I don't know whether you agree with me or not, but I need some better landscaping in front of home. I need a mixture of 40s, 50s, 60s. I need better architectural details on the sides and the front. I need more rear-loaded 40-foots. And, I'm dealing with Holiday. I don't want to see us building future Holidays.
Well, I can tell you, the staff has been listening, and staff has got the message. They do understand what, and some of these landscape conditions are all, they are working on that.
Yeah, and I understand that. I just, I want to be fair to the development community because, my husband was a developer, and I understand that they need to know what the rules are so that when they, or someone buys a piece of land, what do they expect? And so we need to have a consistent rule, and I don't know how to fix that quickly, and I get that by doing it when we vote here for, when they come through, and like, I missed Barbara's apparently today. So I don't know how to fix that quickly. I don't know if everyone agrees with me, but that's where I am on issues of today with development.
So, I believe honestly that staff is working on that. They have heard our message. They have heard about architectural. They have heard about landscaping, and they are making those conditions on new projects coming in.
Yeah, but it's not in the code. So how can we quickly make some LDC corrections to do it properly?
Amend the code and you bring
Yeah.
something forward and you go through the public hearing process, right, Jeff? I mean, that's what you do. You make a
motion.
You propose, you give staff direction now to bring something back here, and then you go through the public hearing process. You can change them. You can amend the code anytime you want to.
Okay, so I would like to make that a motion that Jeff, are you getting ready to say something? Okay, I'll try.
Good, but go ahead.
All right, I'm going to take a swing at it. I'd like to make a motion that we have staff bring some changes that we just spoke about to us that amend the LDC so that everyone understands what we're looking for as soon as possible. Is that good? Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, so I think the land development code can address the majority of the issues you just said, but the issue of 40-foot lots is primarily an MPUD issue, because typically it's the MPUDs that even allow 40-foot lots. So if that's something you want changed, you're gonna need to direct your staff to alter the mix of lots and MPUDs. That's something that comes to you on a regular basis. It's not as much a land development code issue. Am I making sense? Because your standard Euclidean districts probably are not going to allow those 40-foot lots anyway. They go through the MPD process to get 40-foot lots. So if you want to limit the number of 40-foot lots or require a mixture or rear-loaded 40-foot lots, that's more of an MPUD issue, not a land development code issue. So
All right, so how do we make sure that all the staff is on board with the direction that the county, that we want them to go on, if it's not in the LDC?
Well, you would be directing your planning and development director to implement those type of requirements. I will tell you, I review most of the MPDs that come through. They are not doing that currently. I mean, with all due respect to what Commissioner Oakley said, they're not requiring a mix of lot sizes or architectural features, some of the things that you've mentioned. Landscaping, I have seen a proposed LDC amendment to do with landscaping, but some of the other issues you talked about, I have not seen changes in the recent MPDs that have
Ones I
been
was speaking
submitted.
of actually were from some developers that were making that kind of change, but maybe they're not. But we need to have it where they are.
Yes, I agree.
Give the direction so that you can change the land
Go ahead,
development code on Well, yeah, Commissioner Starkey, so, Starkey, you can jump in. So you get this, why don't you, if you want to make the motion to direct staff to bring back options for the land development code on the landscaping, you can do that, and they do something separate when it comes to directing staff to take a closer look at varying the lot sizes within the lot. So take that out of your motion.
Well, he said they can approve it without having to change anything.
We'll do a land development code.
So-
The landscaping would need to be the land development code.
The issue of lot sizes that
It's
you
separate.
mentioned is primarily an MPUD issue.
Right. So make your
So
motion.
that, so,
So,
Let's hear from Terry about
if
what.
I may, right. So we do have landscaping code updates coming forward really soon. What David is referring to is that the MPUD is a negotiated district. It covers things that don't typically happen by the regular land development code or that are allowed by the Euclidean zones by themselves. And so you could do something different and special in the MPUDs. And that's how the developers come forward. They use this different and special approach to ask for 40-foot wide lots. It's been, as my understanding, previous direction to work with the developers to make sure that the developments that they're proposing can come forward in the most effective way possible for the marketplace. This is a longstanding policy from years past, so it could be due time for a change in that approach.
So when are you bringing the land?
yeah, we don't want to see only 40-foot lots in these, we don't want to see what we're getting. We want to see better, right? I mean, yeah. So if that's just staff direction, then
Correct.
if we need to give you direction, then here it is on that, right? All right, so then what about architectural elements? Because a lot of the houses, I've heard that some of the same houses that they're building in our county, in other counties, they add some architectural details to them, and the city of Zephyr Hills and Dade City require some architectural details, and we don't. And so we're getting just straight, dry wall, straight whatever.
Right.
Yeah, windows and a door and a roof. And I'm telling you, that's Holiday being built around the county. So not to disparage Holiday, but some neighborhoods that haven't fared as well.
So what's the differentiation in the elevation of each home?
So we need some architectural details.
So I think the issue,
Not elevation height, that's elevation
if the issue is not allowing garages and driveways in the front of 40-foot wide lots, then because you want architectural detail and enhancement to the buildings, then that's going to cause the driveways to be rear-loaded, basically on the backside. So the front side of the house now, you can talk about fenestration, how many windows you want to see, where to place a door, keep it on the front of the house, let's say, instead of on the side of the house, a porch, and keep it very general to those limited applications, with a porch light, let's say. But after that, I think the state statute places limitations on how much architectural standard you can place within a zoning code.
Well,
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So it does for straight Euclidean categories. It does not for
okay. I stand
MPUDs.
corrected.
So, I mean, well, I agree with the point that Mr. Goldstein was making. You can set a minimum criteria for a MPUD that in your land development code, and that's where those architectural details, based on the legislative direction from the state legislature, I think it has to be in your MPUD category. So you can create those criteria within the MPUD category just as you would create them in the Euclidean category, and basically say to the development community, this is, your flexibility ends here.
Okay.
If that's the board's desire.
yeah, and one of the ways that was suggested to me was there can be a smorgasbord of architectural details. I'm not, I should have the list in front of me, but I don't. But I'll be happy to provide it, where there's all different kinds of ways, and they're not expensive, that add a kind of detail to a home that makes it more than just straight I don't want to say drywall, because that's not the word. What is it that you put on the outside of the house? Stucco on a window with no treatment around the window, or, no hardy plank or whatever. So why don't I get you the list and get it, and then we can have that discussion at the next meeting on the architectural details, so we can keep moving?
Sounds good.
Okay, but I think you have direction on the 40, 50, 60s and the MPUD hearings.
Thank you.
But definitely want to discuss more the rear-loaded 40-foots. Those are much better.
Okay.
And I always believe in a carrot rather than a stick. Lastly, I have sent this to each one of you. I had sent this to the county administrator and the attorney. This is the agreement. It's, it's an informal agreement, a document of friendship that we are going to sign between us and the District of Germersheim, Rhineland-Palatinate, Federal Republic of Germany. So you may have heard of a sister city. This is less informal than a sister city because we're not a city. So, this is just kind of this is just another program that they have that that Germersheim will be our first international kind of county friend, not sister city, all right? So, I didn't want to sign this and until you all had read it and were in agreement that this was a good idea. But I hope you do, because I've already made their gift and we're all set for the ceremony, so.
Sounds good.
Is everything good and legal and looking good in the document? I mean, it's pretty warm and fuzzy.
You probably should have a motion authorizing Commissioner Starkey to sign it on behalf of the board, but I don't
So
see
moved.
any real legal import to
Second.
the document.
Okay.
I got a motion and a second. Catherine Starkey will sign this for us and represent us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0.
Wonderful, thank you. And we had Dr. Fritz here. He's a wonderful man. I'm glad he's still there. The mayor, or whatever they call the head of their county government district.
All right,
I'm
you're
done.
You sure?
Yeah, I forgot what I
Messed
want to
up
say on Tampa Bay
my,
Water, but you can go
messed up
for
my
it.
closing by about 30 minutes, so. Got a little bit of time for you.
I'll try to make mine sweet, but short. So I apparently, because I have several items to just mention quickly, I did attend the Stomp Out Suicide that was put on by Parks and Rec and Natural Resources. It was a 5K run and a 1 mile fun run. Suicide is a national health problem and the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 24. So I'd like to say thank you to Parks and Recreation for helping to put on this event. And there's a few photos. And staff was very nice that day. And thank you for coming together. And there's another event coming up November 13th in Newport Richey to fight against suicide. And then next event, that's very next day, and the same day was the CARES chairs. And CARES offers many services in in-home health services, adult daycare, and they help connect our elderly and disabled, which ties into the Area Agency on Aging Commission that I'm on. And they have also approved for $240,000 to help fight against crime and help the elderly and disabled fraud victims. And these are some of the chairs that were painted and auctioned off that day at SunWest.
One day I'm going to make it to that event. I love this idea.
I think I've been going from an event to an event. All right, next. Let's see which one. Well, while it's coming up. Oh, okay. So I also attended the stand down this past weekend. The stand down, actually, when I was there, I was speaking to different organizations. They do have 197 vouchers for veterans through the HUD-VASH program. There's 100 vouchers for the homelessness or at risk of being homeless, 25 vouchers for Section 8 housing, and Pasco County and other organizations have a plethora of resources. So one just has to apply. Pasco County, I would like to also, I know Rob Marin is stepping in the Veterans Program. So welcome, since he's switching. And then Pasco County can help assist veterans with receiving their pensions and numerous other resources to help veterans and with their disability benefits and help direct them to their health care as well. The next commission that I sit on is the Human Trafficking Commission that meets the third Wednesday of the month. We are in the process of choosing our next upcoming project, and someone also had brought up the discussion of human trafficking court.
Oh, that's what you brought up somewhere.
Oh, yes, I did.
With the state attorney, yeah.
Let's see. I would like to say thank you to Kathy Pearson. I know someone else had mentioned it earlier today. The lady that was hit on Little Road, was driving by when, anyways. So the very next day, I saw a lady in a wheelchair get off of the bus and cross over four lanes of traffic and across the median. And I just would like to make sure everyone knows we do have the paratransit that is door-to-door service that will pick them up from their homes and bring them to where they need to go. Just like the lady this morning, she doesn't need to be going across main roads. She can get the assistance of getting picked up from her home to help prevent getting hit by a vehicle. And also, I know I've spoken, I don't know if Kathy Pearson's still here, of would it be something we would need to look at of making sure we have Commissioner Starkey, the bus stops located closer to an intersection so they can pull off on the side and then people cross at the intersection instead of crossing along 4 lanes of traffic. Next is the Upcycle. We have the 6th annual Pasco Upcycle and Arts Festival, November 6th at Sims Park in Newport Richey. They'll be transforming the trash into treasures. So you can come out and see that event. And to help keep Pasco beautiful. Something we touched base on last board meeting was the Guardian Ad Litem, actually at the Metropolitan Planning Organization, was the Guardian Ad Litem license plate. They do need 2,000 pre-orders to start getting those license plates, so if anyone would like to get a Guardian Ad Litem license plate, please do so. They're about 400 and they need 2,000 pre-registered. And then lastly, back to this morning with David Lambert and everyone, someone had reached out to me that they were about to be homeless in the next couple days. I had given them the phone number for the housing authority, so on a bright side, they were able to get the assistance and it helped them in their interim, so now they're actually being able to purchase their own home. So it's always nice to have a positive ending, so thank you. That's it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mariano?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did you want to bring up Deer Lake?
And I've been working on trying to get Deer Lake resolved for quite a while now, and Commissioner Mariano is going to help. There you go.
Well, this is your district, and I know you were working on it, and she acknowledges that, and I know Commissioner Wells had looked at it. In the email I think we all received back on October 25th from Nancy Gray, the thing that concerns me the most is it seems like Deer Lake, as it says, belongs to the county. Is that true or not?
It's not true.
No, sir.
Commissioner.
Okay.
We've explained that several times to Ms. Gray.
Okay, but I mean, on the property appraiser site, it shows different, so.
But that historically, it has been a function that the property appraiser uses Pasco facilities so that homeowners associations and other common spaces don't get tax assessments. It's been that way since before I was your county attorney, and there are multiple right-of-ways, common spaces, stormwater ponds that all say Pasco facilities. That's not an indication of ownership, and this particular one we have researched, and it's not ours.
Okay. So it's not ours, however, we do pump from, in the Crane's Roost area, we ran a pipe that runs from across the road by the Dollar General down to the mall area, where it runs up the street into a lake that's on Youth Lane, and we did a great job there keeping those people from flooding out. I mean, they've had great success there. We kept Benderson from dumping or pumping across Little Road into their lake, and that's not happened since. We even put an extra pump in when needed to be for a heavy situation to pump from the top, from the bottom of Youth Lane, where the old boys club was, up the hill into one of our retention areas, and they hadn't flooded out. So it just, I don't know if we're isolating where we want to pump, where we're not, but if there's an opportunity to pump from Deer Lake to there to go across as well, it's something we should be taking a look at doing if there's some way to try to fix this issue, until we can go fix it further down south. I mean, are there any solutions where we can help these people? We can't say we just can't pump from one area, but we're pumping from another area. I mean, it just doesn't make, there's a fairness issue.
There's no structures that are in imminent danger of flooding right now. And the only reason we have pumps other places is to protect structures from flooding.
Okay, so you've got a roadway that's lime rock, correct? That floods out.
Deer Lake, I don't believe there's no road adjacent to it. It's surrounded by private property.
Is Adonis and Grave, is that county roads or public roads?
I think there's a mix of B roads and county retained roads in that area.
Okay, maybe Commissioner
But none of them
Fitzpatrick.
are, if I recall from, I looked at the GIS a day or two ago, none of them are adjacent to Deer Lake. Deer Lake is surrounded by private property.
Is the water level from Deer Lake reaching over to go into this, it seems to me like a bottom of a bowl area.
She's at the bottom.
So if we can get the water from one area to another area where we're pumping, it would seem to be a part of a solution. If we need to go look at paving the road so that when the water levels do rise up, at least you're not just having more lime rock just dissipate in the whole area. I mean, it's a tough situation, and I know it's not our fault, it's not their fault, but I think there's got to be something more we can take a look at doing.
This is Adonis and Graves. And the water goes up halfway through her backyard.
I'm pulling up the GIS now.
So, all right,
but
so let's just,
surrounded by private
let's keep a
property.
dialogue going. I wouldn't mind taking a closer look at this, if you don't mind, Commissioner Fitzpatrick as well, and just see if we
More
can
than
come to some solutions to, whereas I know exactly what we did up at Crane's Roost, to try to find a solution to this thing here.
And we pump up there to avoid flooding people's homes.
Right.
And this is not today threatening anyone's home.
But it's affecting the quality of life, so maybe it's a paving assessment thing we need to take a look at, or some other type of improvement, because all that lime rock is still causing other grief from the area. Anyway, we'll look at it later. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Today is my 30th anniversary with my wife.
Oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
I've been a
When's
very, very
coming up?
lucky guy
March.
all these years. We've just had a great run. We can't believe it's 30 years already, but very happy the way things have gone. We're so happy we picked Pasco County to raise our family. So,
That's great.
thank you. So, happy anniversary, honey.
Okay, Mr. Miles?
Yes, sir. A reminder, tomorrow we have the Two Good Souls ceremony at 10 a.m. at Wendell Crane Tech School. So that will be where we put the piles up and we see if internal services won yet again or not. So I have a feeling somebody's trying to knock them off. The other thing is September, we had Friends of the Library here this morning. September was Library Card Sign-Up Month, and we signed up 2,951 new card holders for the library in that month. And I think the 51st one is Commissioner Starkey.
Yep.
And Animal Services is hosting an adoption event with some of our rescue partners, our private rescue partners, out at our facility on the 13th of November. So just wanted to put those things out there and on your radar. So that's all I had, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Steinstein?
I don't have anything for you today.
All right, thanks, sir. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have two items. One is for the board's consideration. You all know that this is the time where we start the annual financial audit. So the annual financial audit for fiscal year 21 is ready to commence with our contracted external financial firm, Carr, Riggs & Ingram. And every year, the board must approve and sign an engagement letter with the auditing firm. And we need the engagement letter signed for the audit to begin. So I am requesting that the board delegate the review, approval, and signature of the engagement letter to either the chair or the county administrator.
We'll move.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second.
And under discussion, what are we auditing?
This is the financial statements. This is the annual.
Oh, we do
report
this,
that
we do it every year?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if we were
Financial audit.
moving around the departments.
No, we always win the award of excellence in financial reporting every year, so.
Good job.
Do I have a motion and a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And the next item is like a little public service announcement here. There is a company that sends letters out to our community, and it looks like it's official. It looks like it's a bill, and it's from a company, and their name is Property Records Office. That's their name. So it looks very legit, and it basically looks like a little invoice that they send you.
Oh, okay.
To give you a copy of your recorded deed that's available online that you can get for free from your home if you would like. Now, we are the official record holder for property records in the county, so I thought it would be important to let the public know and to bring that here that this is not a bill. This is an advertisement. And if you send your money in, you're giving money away that you don't need to give away because you can get your copies of your deed for free. They're online available to you. If you need them certified, the fee is very minimal from my office. It's $1 a page, and it's very affordable compared to what is being charged here for a free document. We have the alert available as well on my office website. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's have a couple, I'm glad David came back to the meeting, because come up forward, David, I want you to go over what we did yesterday. So David and I had a meet yesterday with some small businesses in the area, one in Dade City and one in Zephyr Hills, and I think we both learned something by going out and talking to them and what maybe we can do for a small business, especially when we found out one really needs to grow. So if you will, I'll let you handle it, tell them who we met with and
Well,
what we
thank you
found
very
out.
much, Mr. Chairman. David Engel, Office of Economic Growth. Kicking off our proactive tours with the commissioners in each district. I'll be calling upon the other commissioners, if they're available, to tour their districts and look for opportunity for us to help and assist the small business community. So in one instance where we met with a restaurateur who is taking a building and actually restoring the entire facade of the building, taking 3 of the shops on a main commercial corridor and establishing an extended seating Italian restaurant.
Oh, awesome.
And we met out there with community development last week, and we're working with them to give them a community development block grant for approximately $100,000. And it's a loan, it's not a grant, so they're going to return the money to us and allow them to open up and generate some cash flow. The second stop was down in the Zephyr Hills area. We met with a woman who's a hyperbaric practitioner,
Stephanie Davis.
hyperbaric practitioner, and there are a lot of off-label treatments that hyperbaric medicine provides, from diabetes to Lyme's disease, COVID, autism, ADHD. It also provides an ability to actually generate white blood cells to kill infection. In fact, the benefits were so numerous, Commissioner Oakley and I were going to dive into the hyperbaric chambers, but we couldn't get in, both of us.
Yeah.
She also says it helps you fight aging.
Is that one of those tank things?
It is.
My husband did that for 40 days. From COVID, he got a clot. He got a clot in his optic nerve and lost some of his eyesight.
From the hyperbarics?
No, from COVID.
Oh, did it reverse?
It did. It helped it a lot.
Oh, good.
A lot.
So the entrepreneur's brother makes portable types of scalable hyperbarics machines over in India. So we had an idea of working on establishing a holistic medicine destination in Pasco County for these types of popular holistic medical practices. So we're working on that, and we also have another prospect who wasn't available to meet with us yesterday, but the CEO of this company is very enthusiastic about speaking to us, so we'll have a follow-up meeting, and it may be a major industrial facility here in Pasco.
That's awesome.
So a lot of things, I've been telling a lot of things. I felt like I'm busier than I ever have been before, but when you really sit down and relax enough to think about it, East Pasco's growing a lot more things coming toward East Pasco than there were a year or two ago.
Well, all the districts have diamonds in the rough, and you just have to get out and find them.
Oh, yeah. And so we have a lot of opportunities from the Lacucci area throughout East Pasco to expand on and actually plan out things the right way so when they get finished, they look good and we actually have the right kind of businesses growing and flourishing in our county. So, and home sites too. So all these things are very important. So with that, that's all I have.
Wait,
and
I have two things.
Wait a minute. You had 20 things.
They're really
already?
good. I've already forgotten one
Okay.
of them, but I remember the other one.
All right.
So I went to visit, not True, because True has changed a little bit. True, the pilot training part of True is now flight safety. And I went and met with Ben, the new CEO of the one here. And I brought some folks from AmScales with me. And I am very excited. I had no expectations that on his side of the world, on the flight training part, that there would be, a manufacturing training opportunity. But I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But I can tell you that he needs something very badly that is nowhere in the world, and we can help him with it. And he is running it up his corporate flag immediately. He was so excited. So I actually said that you should meet our county administrator because I think the two of you would really get along well. He's a former Army Ranger and just an interesting guy. No?
Lost that.
Not the right. I know it's not wrong branch. I know you're Air Force, but he's a very interesting man. He picked Starkey Ranch over Astoria, so he has some.
Oh, you think you really choose good things.
That's a better sense, but anyway. No, I do think, I just thought the two of you should meet, so I'm going to introduce the two of you sometime. But yeah, I'm really excited about that opportunity. It's really an incredible opportunity for Pasco County. And the other thing is I won't be able to be at the Two Good Souls because I am, one of the, Scott Fink and I are leading the Metropolitan Ministries fundraiser tomorrow at Advent Center Ice. And I have some VIPs on my table. I just need to be there. Avis Phillips is coming and some other people. And I need to be there early to welcome her. She's never been there. So I just don't have the time to do both. So it's the first one I'll miss, but it's a great event. And thank you to staff and everyone who participates in the Two Good Souls.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, we're adjourned.
Oh, Mr. Chair, you get enough.